Welcome to Smart Women Talk. This is your host, Katana Abbott. I'm a midlife millionaire coach and a certified financial planner, and I search the world for smart women and a few good men, including best-selling authors and thought leaders who are on that leading edge. So join us for conversations on money, business, health, and inspiration so you can live with more purpose, passion, and prosperity. Hello, everyone. This is Katana Abbott, and I want to welcome you to Smart Women Talk. Today, we're going to be speaking with returning guest, Dr. Anna Cabeca, about how to live a vibrant life at any age. Specifically, we're going to share strategies for living your best life during and after menopause, how to rebalance your hormones for weight loss, and the importance of sexual health at every age. So let me tell you about Dr. Anna. She is the best-selling author of the Hormone Fix and Keto-Green 16. Dr. Anna is triple board certified and a fellow of gynecology and obstetrics, integrative medicine, anti-aging, and regenerative medicine. She holds special certifications in functional medicine, sexual health, and bioidentical hormone therapy. She lectures frequently on these topics throughout the world to large audiences and is known as the Girlfriend Doctor and is the host of the Girlfriend Show. She has personally developed natural products to help women balance hormones and thrive through menopause, including the highly acclaimed Julva cream for the vulva and the MightyMaca Plus powerful superfood blend. I am so excited to have you here, Dr. Anna, and welcome back and happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here with you, Katana. I'm thrilled.
I want to start today by saying we're going to be talking about a couple of things. The first book I bought was The Hormone Fix. It is like an encyclopedia. It's a wonderful resource because it's like taking you through the whole process of assessments to take and explaining what hormones are. And then also your ketone diet we'll talk about that has the added alkaline to it. And we'll also talk about MenuPause, which I'm so excited to have the cookbook as well. So thank you for creating these great resources, because I'll tell you what, we all need it, don't we?
Oh my goodness. I'm a constant work in progress as well, but I want to thank you for that. The Hormone Fix is my magnus opus. It really is. It's like what I want women to know, to be empowered, to be the CEO of their own body, right? To recognize that we don't have to give our power away to a prescription pad, a surgical procedure, an insurance company, or pharmaceutical company, that we can be empowered within. And that's the reason I wrote that. And through my own struggles, my own journeys to hell and back, right? And to bring to light in a very simple way. And I love it because it's, it's easy to read, it's easy to follow, and it just, hopefully you're getting a lot of aha moments. That makes so much sense, right? And that you can experience that. And I always say too, Katana, it takes more than hormones to fix your hormones. It's so true. It takes more than hormones to fix your hormones. So I want everyone to understand that.
Well, we were talking a little bit before we started, and I've always been a big health advocate. And I've done all these diets, but, it was hit or miss. I never really knew what I was doing. And what I'm so excited about is in your philosophy, the Keto-Green 16, you're bringing in the keto and you explain why it's important and how the food itself actually can improve our hormones. And how can we talk a little bit about this, like the keto crazy? Because, a friend of mine she goes on this keto, but she says she goes crazy with it. And I read, oh my gosh, that's what she's talking about. And so now I understand that by adding the alkaline to it, it's going to help balance the body. And do you mind sharing this whole concept that you've put together?
Yeah, I'd love to. And like the concept was bringing healthy keto with greens together with healthy alkaline for hormone balance. And because a lot of the keto fad is based on men in so many situations, and men have 10 times as much testosterone as women do. And so they're not going to lose muscle. They're not going to get into a catabolic breakdown stress state in their bodies. They're going to do that a lot later on in the process compared to women. So women will experience keto flu or keto crazy beforehand. And that's because we're not feeding our neuroendocrine system. And that's one of the things I realized in my own journey. So for me, the Keto-Green approach is intermittent fasting, no more snacking, healthy, high quality protein and fats with a combination of greens, cruciferous vegetables, fermented foods to feed our gut microbiome, which is responsible for so much of our estrogen metabolism.
What you just said is you're bringing them all together.
Mm-hmm.
When you have an acidic diet, does that make your osteopenia or osteoporosis worse because
Absolutely.
Your body has to leach calcium from the bones? Because I've got osteopenia, and I actually improved my bone density test, I think by 19%.
Wow, that's amazing.
And it was that they said my chances of having like a fracture had dropped by 19%.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You did that without drugs, and that's really important. That's powerful.
And so that was with some, not enough, but more exercise. But really, it was by going organic and trying to focus on the alkaline diet. But I had no idea really what I was doing. There wasn't a system to it. It's more that hit or miss. So I'm so excited to find like a real system that I can follow now.
Yeah. And I think it makes a difference when we put it together because we often get lost, but food is medicine. Food is one of the first medicines. And I always say you have to eat well, think well, move well, sleep well to be well, right? Love well to be well. And so, those are really key components that are just basic and within 100% within our control. So nourishing our body with the right nutrients and to decrease inflammation, to balance our hormones, to support our entire nervous system. That makes all the difference in the world. Let me tell you, with what I've been through in my life and the periods of severe depression I've had, I should be on several psych meds. I'm on 0 meds. And so because I learned this, I saw my mom get on one med after another med. By the time she passed away, she was on 11 medications, no 2 of which were studied in a person, let alone a menopausal woman at the same time. And so I was in med school when she passed away. And that really spurred me on to understand, okay, well, something's wrong with this picture. What's going on here? And I started looking at things very differently, very differently.
This quote, let thy food be thy medicine.
Mm-hmm.
So can we talk a little bit about how food can be medicine and how it can actually affect our hormones?
Yeah, absolutely. If we think back, like even to think of some of the common foods and dishes from around the world, and in my book, MenuPause, I share food from around the world because number one, I've traveled around the world, part of my healing journey. I'm from a very international family. I love to eat. So I really pulled that in. And just a side joke, that book is MenuPause. And I always joke that my next book will be about the menu pause. Anyway, so the key thing is like, why was garlic used? Who would ever think, oh, I'm going to use garlic and put it in my sauce or put it with my food? And what a delicious combination. Or I'm going to mash these olives and use the oil. And what made people think of it? It was medicinal value. And when you go back into ancient times, you look at the physicians were to say, for example, in the Ottoman Empire, who was the physician to the king? It was the cook, the chef. The chef prepared the food for the constitution of the king. And this is where many sayings came from. Breakfast like a king, lunch like a nobleman, dinner like a pauper, like that extended fasting from evening to the morning type thing. So It's interesting to look at the history, the medicinal history of food, but like garlic is rich in sulfur containing nutrients that help your body with sulfation, an important process to detox, to make glutathione, one of the most potent antioxidants there are. Onions the same way. I mean, like, who would ever pull an onion out of the ground and, take a bite in it, think, oh, this should be food. I mean, it's part of the medicinal aspect of food. And olive oil, of course, one of the most nutrient-rich foods, the right olive oil, right? Like, you've got to make sure it's pure olive oil. Makes all the difference in the world, how it's prepared, how it's pressed, how it's stored, etc. I mean, that's the beauty of food as medicine.
And then, there's these gourmet olive oils you can order too, that are, specialty olive oils. And that's so exciting because it makes it more of an adventure and it's fun at the same time and really getting you healthy.
Yes. And travel around the world with olive oils. Olive oils from different places and cultures have different taste and flavors, and the same with wines. And so you think about these things, and I look at the food as medicine. So for example, when I combine the food for all my Keto-Green menus, it has high quality protein. We need protein for muscle. We need protein for regeneration and repair and rejuvenation. So we need protein at full, complete amino acids. And it's really important. In my second book, because I have a lot of vegetarians and vegans in my audience, I did a omnivore Keto-Green 16-day plan and a vegan Keto-Green 16-day plan so that people could take advantage of that to look at, pausing meat for a little bit, or if they are vegan, a real healthy way to cut down the carbs and make sure you're getting high quality proteins and fats in that plan. So, but like a couple of the things that I insist on, it's like, I'm balancing your hormones. I want to make sure they're good, healthy fats. In the 80s, I was in college in the 80s and the low fat crave, that has destroyed a generation of women's hormones. That low fat movement put us on carbs, made us more inflamed, diabetic, obese, and hormonally imbalanced. It's that combination. So the fats are actually fuel for our body and a first fuel that we should be using over sugar. And ideally using our own fat first, right? And using the fat for our cell membranes. So fat lines every single cell membrane. Healthy cell membranes mean healthy repair and healthy healing and great complexion and good skin. So it's important to have healthy, good fat. So I explain what that is in the Hormone Fix as well. And then the greens. What kind of greens? Cruciferous vegetables, your cauliflower, broccoli sprouts, cabbage, sauerkraut. Things that contain nutrients to help with estrogen metabolism and detoxification when, especially in perimenopause and menopause, your estrogen levels are like all over the place, kind of going a little bit crazy there. But what is actually happening? So we give our body and our gut the fuel it needs, the fermented vegetables, sauerkraut, kimchi, things like that as well, to help support your gut microbiome that's doing a lot of the work and a lot of the metabolism of your hormones too. So we want to make sure that we're combining these three things. And then a really big thing, if you're reading a menopause diet book and they say, we want you to have some snacks and stuff. Look, ideally we want to wean you off snacks because snacks create insulin resistance. Insulin resistant is a number one reason for unrelenting hot flashes. In that menopause, and I've had clients who have hot flashes for 20 years. And it's like, oh, well, what's going on there? They're insulin resistant. They're not diabetic. Doctors just been watching their hemoglobin A1C climb up until they get the diagnosis of pre-diabetes or diabetes. And they've been struggling with these hot flashes. And what are they getting? Maybe some estrogen, but they weren't getting addressed at the underlying level. But in 2 weeks, we've seen clients go from hot flashes every 20 minutes for years to not having any hot flashes at all, because we're creating insulin sensitivity that decreases inflammation, that improves your hemoglobin A1C, that creates a sharper mind and mindset. I got to go off on a tangent right now, Katana, because I was with a patient, a client friend earlier today. She's 71 and she was diagnosed with cervical cancer. She had bleeding several months ago, and the doctor thought it was her hormone management, played with that for a little bit. She continued to have problems. They did an ultrasound and nothing, unsatisfactory endometrial biopsy, nothing. And she continued to have bleeding. So a month ago, they finally did a cervical biopsy and a pap smear and another endometrial biopsy. And she's diagnosed with adenocarcinoma of the cervix. So I went with her to the oncologist today. I'm sitting in the waiting room. I'm looking around what's in this waiting room. And I see Ensure. Ensure with 40 grams of carb in their shakes. Like, you want to feed cancer, give it sugar, give it carbs. I mean, that is not the way to help someone who has cancer. And so how do we prevent cancer? We become insulin sensitive and we choose our carbs very carefully. And I just want to emphasize that because our American College of OBGYN, and I trained at one of the best institutions in the world, we're told that women over 65 don't need pap smears anymore if they've had negative pap smears. It's not true. Women over 65 are still vital, are still sexually active, are still, doing things and with their life. They need pap smears and pelvic exams, and it shouldn't be dismissed because they're over 65. So I just want to emphasize that for everyone listening, because it's near and dear to my heart, and it's why I do what I do, to prevent these things from happening. And we're praying for a miracle and a cure right now and doing everything I know to help her. But we shouldn't be diagnosing cervical cancer or vaginal cancers like this. It shouldn't, because we can prevent them with preventive care and early diagnosis.
And I was just told that I don't need to get a pap smear anymore.
No, you absolutely do. You absolutely do.
Isn't that? And I bet other women listening have heard the same thing.
And I think it could be at a gap of 3 years if it's a negative cytology, 3 or 5 years, but you need pelvic exams and you need a pap smear. And it can be spaced out, but you still need to have it. That's what I always tell my patients. They'll say Medicare won't pay for your pap smear. I'm like, well, here it's $50 bill. Please pay for it. You know what I mean? Like, please pay for it. It's the best money you're going to spend, and it's preventative. But, Medicare, we got to change these things. They'll pay for Viagra, but they're not going to pay for a pap smear. Are you kidding me? Don't get me started.
Unbelievable. Well, let's talk about something that affects the younger women, is endometriosis. Now, is there something that causes it? And then if you have it, it's, very painful. It can cause sterility from what I read, but then how do we turn it around after we have it? So,
yeah. So like if I have a client who has symptoms of endometriosis or a diagnosis, and the way we diagnose endometriosis is by laparoscopy. So that's the only way to really officially diagnose endometriosis. There are several theories. There's still like 5 going theories that are the cause of endometriosis. But so we're not 100% sure. But what I know is in working with patients to reverse the symptoms of endometriosis, and I'll give you the example of Lauren. Lauren was a patient of mine who came to see me. She was 36 years old, and she'd been to 3 other doctors that all recommend hysterectomy for her endometriosis symptoms. And she said, my husband's 15 years younger than me, or was 10 years younger than me, and we want to have a baby. And so, I don't want to give up I don't want to go down this route. And so I worked with her, and the same thing, and follow my Keto-Green detox or the Keto-Green 16 vegan plan. And, I put her on extra detoxification support. So I use my MightyMaca Plus, which is an adaptogenic, anti-inflammatory superfood combination. I used that on her 2 to 3 scoops a day. I had her take Keto-Green detox supplements to cleanse the liver, help with phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification, because our hormones are detoxed in the liver and metabolized in the liver by the P450 enzyme system. So we need to clean the liver like we need to change the filters on our oil in our car. So I did that with her, made her stop dairy, modified elimination diet, low inflammatory diet. And when she came back in for her 3-month follow-up, she was pregnant. So that boy is 8 years old now. So, I love that story because she was told by 3, and her intuition said, no, I think there's got to be a better way. In 3 months. And that was 100% her control. I didn't prescribe her anything. I didn't do another surgery on her. And that was it. That's all it took. And so for different people, it's different. I had a 16-year-old client come to me, and she was missing a week of school, a month. Incredibly bright girl. Grades were suffering. Life was suffering. And she had acne, painful periods, an ovarian cyst the second time in a year. And the doctor wanted to operate. And her mom said, she's 16. And so she brought her to me, had heard about me through her sister and had brought her to me. And I did the same thing. No dairy. I said, you have more of the PCOS type genes. You're more likely to be insulin resistant. You're sensitive to hormones, all this stuff. And so I made her stop her sodas. Like you get to drink water, get off the dairy. Like that's really important for a while. Let's get you off the dairy. And I supplemented with MightyMaca Plus and another chaste tree berry extract supplement too, and omega-3 fish oils. And I just had her do those diet controls. I said, no more snacking. And she graduated high school at the top of her class and is now at university in California and is doing amazing. But she would have been under another surgery. And when she went back for her follow-up OB-GYN appointment, like the ovarian cysts were gone. That was a matter of 4 to 6 months. And the biggest thing was that in 6 weeks, her mom called me and said, you know what? She's going to school. She didn't even know her period was coming. That's how quick our body is powerful. And that's the thing that I want to emphasize because, I saw how my mom was treated and taken care of in medicine. And, it was like, here the doctor, me, for instance, would say, I know what's best for you. Here, take this. Do this. I mean, and as physicians, we want to give you quick healing, but that didn't help her. And so we don't want to give our power away. We as women need to take the power of our body back because it is intelligently designed to heal itself. And if I can help women do that, that's what I want to do. But I think that's the missing message in our modern day medical model.
Well, think of this. If we could have a broken bone or we have a really horrible accident and we have all kinds of cuts on our body can go grow new skin and grow new bone and heal itself. So why can't, especially if we're giving it proper nutrition and eliminating things that are not good for it, but also just our mindset, right? Because I know you talk about that as well, having the healthy mindset. But if we give our body what it needs, why can't it heal itself rather than just be told that there's no solution, we need surgery?
Good question.
To cut it out and remove it.
The sooner we can find something, we can prevent that need for surgery.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's very, very encouraging. Thank you. So I do want to ask you about inflammation. We hear that inflammation is the cause of so much disease. What is inflammation? How does it affect the body and also our weight? Do you mind sharing that?
Yeah, absolutely. I say that 90% of disease is caused by inflammation and hormone imbalance. 90% of disease is caused by these two things. Add in adrenal dysfunction or dysregulation. That's 99% of diseases are caused by these three things. And I call them the devil's pitchfork.
And it was adrenal, like stress?
Hormone imbalance and adrenal dysfunction. So yeah, stress causes adrenal dysfunction. I mean, It'd say 90% of all office visits to a doctor's office are a result of stress-induced cause. Wow. So stress is a huge part, and stress causes inflammation. Chronic, unrelenting stress causes inflammation. It's really important to understand this piece because, again, physician, when I was in med school, my urology professor, he would say, Anna, you're the only one who can upset yourself. And I'm like, my boyfriend can really piss me off or whatever. He goes, nope, you choose how to react. And he was absolutely right. And I was glad I learned that lesson early enough, because I get to choose how I react and respond to this situation. That's my internal milieu that I have control of. And I don't want it to be tied up in a knot. And there are times in life, like I said, I've been through hell, but that it was just in survival mode, but that's okay. Then at some point, we're going to keep focusing on what we're grateful for. And sometimes we have to make things up for a while when the world looks dark and lonely. But really focusing on what we are grateful for, what brings us pleasure in our life, what puts a smile on our face. I mean, that is some of the best medicine I can give you, because that empowers the hormone physiologically, oxytocin. Oxytocin is the hormone of love connection. It's also the best anti-aging hormone, the most regenerative and healing hormone. And, it's the hormone that at the end of the day we want to make sure that's the dominant hormone in our life, so that we're surrounded by people we love and care about and who care about us. So, but in times of stress, cortisol goes up and oxytocin goes down. And when you're under stress, post-traumatic stress or chronic everyday stress for a long time, cortisol will then drop down. Now, cortisol is our natural anti-inflammatory, but at the same time, oxytocin is low too. So you get low cortisol, low oxytocin. That's the physiology of burnout. That's the physiology of depression, isolation, loneliness, divorce. I mean, name it. That's a bad physiology. And when you're in this state too, because cortisol, your natural anti-inflammatory, is low, inflammation gets to run rampant in your body. And so that inflammation can cause high blood pressure, heart disease, atherosclerosis, can cause osteoporosis. I mean, name it. All the modern diseases that you can think of, including cancer, have a inflammatory component, and Alzheimer's. So we want to reduce inflammation in our body. And yeah, it's not that hard.
Okay, so what do you suggest for all the busy people of all ages? Because, women are just notoriously busier, I think, normally than men, because we're just taking care of everyone and we're all having jobs and careers too.
We're great doers, right? We're great doers and helpers. Yeah. And there's easy to fill a full day up. But the thing is, what we need to remember is that if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. So that, I'd say, would be the first way to decrease inflammation. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. And your meditation prayer life, meditation is listening to God, prayer is praying to God. And so that meditation prayer life has to be a priority. I start my day off with 3 questions. And again, setting my physiology for the day. So our mornings set up our day. So before I even open my eyes, I think, what am I grateful for? Where did I see love yesterday? Where was I loving? Where did I laugh? Where could I have laughed more? Those 3 questions are my morning before I get out of bed. So I focus now on love, laughter, and gratitude. And that increases oxytocin. It decreases cortisol. If you're checking your urine pH, you'll be more alkaline. That's really important to understand, that cortisol increases acidity, oxytocin increases alkalinity. So right there, we've shifted our physiology for a day. Then we intermittent fast. And then we break fast with a Keto-Green breakfast, a Keto-Green shake, and, our supplements and adaptogens. I use MightyMaca Plus every single day because it serves my body. When I stop, my DHEA goes down. When I get back on it, my DHEA, adrenal hormone, goes back up. And so it's supporting my glandular production of its own natural hormones. And so then no snacking. You have a beautiful lunch. Maybe it's like a salad with some nut seeds and sliced beef or shrimp or something like that. So a Keto-Green lunch. Watch the dressings, because dressings will have high fructose corn syrup, which is basically poison. And so, really be careful what you're putting on your salad as far as dressing goes. Sometimes I get lazy about that, then I regret it because I get inflamed. My body knows right away. And then, have a nice Keto-Green dinner. Drink between your meals, not with your meals, not more than 4 to 6 ounces with your meals of fluid, because then you're diluting your digestive enzymes, your body's natural way to digest, break down your food. And so you can use the nutrients of what you're eating, versus if you're, drinking, you're, flushing food through partially digested, and that causes indigestion, stomach issues, gut dysbiosis, all that nasty stuff. And then your evening ritual. How are you setting your tone for the evening? What's your walk? What's your mental state? How do you wind down? Are you using red light, taking melatonin, using magnesium, L-threonate? I mean, these are some things that we use to support sleep, for the evening, because that's another great way to decrease inflammation. So then that just, and then checking your urine pH, because the more alkaline you are, the less inflamed you are. And that's true.
So you just mentioned a whole bunch of things. Is a good way to start with the Keto-Green quick start? Is that it?
That's the best way. And the best price that you can get, better than any sale price, the Keto-Green 6-star quick start. And if you don't have the book, add the book on that too. But that's going to give you Keto-Green shake, which has all the multivitamins and minerals, including methylated folate, methylcobalamin. I mean, the high bioavailable form of your vitamins, plus antioxidants to support liver detox. And then it has the MightyMaca, the 30 superfood combination, and follow the menu plan. And it has the urine pH test strips with also checking uric acid and ketones. So it has everything at the best price.
Okay. Now, how long does that program last?
16 days. 16
okay.
days.
Okay. So once we do the 16 days, we're going to feel great. Then what do you suggest for maintenance?
So for maintenance is understanding, I always say 80% Keto-Green, 10% fasting, and 10% feasting. So there's that combination. Sometimes like Sundays is my 1 meal a day Sunday. And I love to, combine a great feast in that one meal. So it's kind of like that feast fast. And then intermittent fasting is always part of it, 13 to 16 hours. Don't like crazy intermittent fasting, especially if you have a survival body type or you're under a lot of stress, can put you into a metabolic stall and actually make you gain weight. So you've got to watch that. There's a fine line there, but listen to your body on that.
What was that again? I kind of missed it. The metabolic stall.
If you're extending fasting for too long, you're doing extensive fasting for too long. For some people, like for me, it increases my uric acid production. That's why I put uric acid on our new test strips. If you see that uric acid go up, your body's going like, okay, I need to conserve energy. I'm going to slow down my metabolism, and it doesn't work out so good. So then the Hormone Fix, again, mandatory reading, because you understand the principles of what I put into a plan so that you can take that wherever you go and you can focus on those principles. And that's maintenance. That's part of the maintenance. And so, I think you have to think well, eat well, move well, sleep well, love well, to be well.
We didn't talk about sex. Can women stay sexually healthy and active and vibrant? Because I had a doctor, a chiropractor, said to me once, because I told her I was taking progesterone, and she said, "Why are you doing that?" She says, after menopause, you're just supposed to dry up. And I just felt like that was the most horrible thought in the world.
It is the most horrible thought in the world.
Yes.
It's absolutely the most horrible thought in the world. I mean, menopause is natural and mandatory. Suffering is optional. We can do something about the drying up of the vaginal tissue, the clitoral atrophy, the vaginal atrophy, the anal atrophy. I mean, all that stuff creates pain, problems, hemorrhoids, fissures, discomfort, loss of pleasure. I mean, all of that, we don't need any of that. So that was one of the reasons I created my product, Julva. Over the counter, you don't need a prescription. You don't need someone to say, okay, here, I bless you with this prescription. But Julva is an over-the-counter vulvar cosmetic, clitoris to anus, that you can use on the vulvar tissue, the perineal tissue, that helps reverse those symptoms that happen with age. The ingredients that I combine, DHEA, plant stem cell. I mean, it took me years to fine tune this formula, and now I have a patent on it. So I'm very excited. First vulvar cosmetic, but it restores your natural body's glandular production. So I have a woman who's 67 years old now. She's been using Julva since I brought it out in 2016, 2017. And she emailed me earlier this year. She's like, Dr. Ann, I went to my gynecologist for an exam, and she says, I've got the vagina of a 25-year-old. Thank you, Julva. Thank you, Dr. Anna. That was her message. And I'm like, you don't need a better marker of aging than that. Let me tell you, I'm like, I have the vagina of a 25-year-old. Okay, I'm 57 this week, but I have the vagina of a 25-year-old. And that's important. I don't want to leak when I cough and sneeze. I don't want to wear a pad. I've had patients that have struggled with prolapse and incontinence in their 70s and 80s when I could have prevented all of that. And so that's my goal. And so sexual pleasure, have sex, have fun, use it. If you're alone, a vibrator in the vagina, then avoid, too much clitoral stimulation with a vibrator, do that periodically because you don't want to deaden those nerves. But no one even talks about clitoral atrophy. I mean, that's like, oh gosh, I'm a sexual health expert. I'm like, oh, we don't want that to happen. Oh no, we are designed for pleasure, especially there.
So you just mentioned, though, having the vagina of a 25-year-old, what if you already have all those symptoms that you were just mentioning? Can the vulva cream, can that help it? The Julva?
Oh, absolutely.
Julva?
Yeah. We have clients in their 70s using Julva.
But it can turn it around?
Can absolutely turn it around. The sooner you start, the better. But we have clients that, just amazing. I think we had someone recently wrote in and her gynecologist said she has the vagina of someone 20 years younger. And so this is really important because, you don't want to struggle with the symptoms that can occur because we just think we don't have to take care of it, but we exercise our face. We put creams and lotions on our face. We need to do the same with our vulvovaginal area because incontinence, all of those things can happen 80% of women over 60 have incontinence symptoms. That is unnecessary. There's a lot we can do to improve that.
Right.
So
no surgeries then.
Well, ideally to avoid surgery.
So it's your birthday and you have a special going for everyone. I'm so excited. So can you tell us about that and how people can connect with you? And they really want to get on your email list too.
Yes, please get on my email list because that's where you'll hear some personal stories and anecdotes that I don't otherwise share. And my birthday week, so we have a birthday sale going and the idea is to gift you something on my birthday. And so with a purchase of Julva, which you will never regret ever, I promise you, we're giving you another 30-day Julva absolutely free. So that's a $40 value. Plus, when you get your package, you will be pleasantly surprised that there will be another 7-day package in there. So as long as you're listening this, I think through July 29th, that offer is available for you. If you are listening after the fact, always go to dranna.com and there is an option to get the Julva 7 nights for under $5. So you can try it yourself and see. But this is birthday week special.
Isn't that wonderful? The time has just flown by. We have to finish up. And this has just been, I guess it's been very positive because I think it's going to give hope to so many people. When you talk about numbers like 80% and 90%, that's all of us. That's most of us that are listening and watching. So thank you so much for sharing. And everyone, I want to remind you, you can go get this on Audible. You can listen to it when you're exercising, but I suggest also order the book so you can come back and do all the assessments and go deeper.
Hormone Fix.
Yes, and you've got the recipes in here. It's the Hormone Fix. Yes, the Hormone Fix. I'm sorry for those who are listening. And if you want to have fun and try out all the wonderful diets, I know I'm like your commercial. I don't care because I believe in this. MenuPause. So Dr. Anna, and spell the spelling for everyone.
So easy. Just dranna.com will get you to my website, dranna.com. And I'm Dr. Anna Cabeca.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone.
Absolutely. And everyone, I want to thank you for coming today. Be sure to join our list so you know who's coming. And we always have all kinds of great goodies for you. Go to joinsmartwomen.com. And when you do, you'll be on our list and you'll be invited to come to the Smart Women's Academy. So till our next show, go out and live with more purpose, passion, and prosperity. Smart Women Talk is brought to you by Smart Women's Empowerment, a 501c3 nonprofit project of United Charitable. Music by Bill Lucas from his album, When It Rains. Available on Apple Music and Spotify. Catch us wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And be sure to join our free community at joinsmartwomen.com to access all our free Smart Women resources.